Hello,
Hello.
so this week's guest is Mark Cummins. Mark is a plant-based strongman and he's also been selected for next year's 2021 World's Strongest Man Games in the under 90 kilograms category.
Yeah, so that was pretty special, and speaking to him about all his strongman achievements was really interesting. He's also a great one to show that you certainly don't need meat to be very, very strong. So we hope you enjoy our latest video, and if you like it, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you very much. So welcome, Mark Cummins, to
Hello.
The Good Life
Thanks
UK.
for having me. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So, for those of you that don't follow you on Instagram, you're into lifting very heavy weights, it would seem, and and strongman events and competitions. What made you first get interested in the strongman events, like going from a sort of your average sort of gym person lifting weights to taking on these big sort of bigger accomplishments?
I don't. I guess I wanted more motivation. There was a guy at my commercial gym at the time who did strongman, and he set up a kind of mini competition just in a, commercial pure gym, and kind of got the bug from there. I was looking at powerlifting, which is also something else I do a little bit of, but strongman has more variety, in what you lift, and things like stones seem a bit cooler than just the bar, and pulling trucks and things like that is quite entertaining. It's it's quite hard work, but if I just went to the gym without a goal to do something, I don't think I'd try very hard or go as often, so
Right.
it's more for motivation to keep me fit and healthy and strong, really, and more than anything else. But I do enjoy, obviously, and it's not like going to a five-a-side football game where everyone thinks it's the FA Cup final. Everyone supports each other, and it's a much more supportive atmosphere, I find, than any other sport I've done. So.
Yeah.
Right.
And shift work as well. I can train when I've got time and then sign up for comps. If you're doing like a team sport, you'd have to have Saturday or Sunday available, wouldn't you, every week?
True.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. So it's a lot of flexibility in it.
Yeah. So it's like
absolutely. You just train as and when. Yeah.
It's like a group within a group. Then is the gym that you go to quite more suited to sort of strongman events and stuff?
It is now, yeah. I was quite lucky, actually, because I used to just train at a commercial gym and then occasionally do strongman stuff with a mate who got it. But now in the area I'm in, there's a couple of good gyms that have got some strongman gear and like higher quality powerlifting equipment you can use. That it's normally more expensive, but obviously it's worth it if you're doing the specific sports and things like that. And I do travel as well, so you know people. So I'll go I'm in Reading, but I'll go to Kent, just to train, things like that. Or in my coaches in Lancaster, I was there last week, which is like a 4.5-hour drive up, up north. So it's just worth it to train with the right people as well as the right equipment. So
absolutely.
That's why I do it.
That's some big dedication. That drive. That's a big drive.
That is,
yeah. It's a long old way, but I don't live far from work, so occasionally I just have to get in the car and drive or take the train. But obviously with COVID, taking the train's more hassle than it used to be. So some ways you'd rather get in the car. I'm aware environmentally it's a poor decision, but when it's the you got to put your mask on and do everything else,
absolutely.
It's occasionally,
don't blame you.
We see the buses going past and just think, no, not right now.
Not right now, no. So what?
Just normally offset my carbon footprint by cycling to work,
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Makes up for it.
So what would you say is your most favourite of the sort of the strongman events? Like I remember as a kid watching strongman and seeing the Atlas and the Atlas stones, and that they're always very memorable, the Atlas stones and stuff. Do you have a favourite?
I'd have to say that's probably it. Yeah, I do like the Atlas stones. I think two reasons. It is like you say, it's the one everyone knows, don't they? And it's also it's one of my better events. I mean, being shorter, it's harder because the platforms can be up to 6 foot high. So it's a bit, when you're trying to launch the stone overhead, it is quite scary and a bit daunting. So if you let it go, you've got like 90, 100 kilos plus falling on your face is not ideal. But I'd say stones is probably my favourite. I like pulling a truck because then people are like, oh, you pulled a truck as well. So they can kind of, if you say, oh, I can deadlift 280 kilos, that's great, but people don't realise what that is. But when they see a big truck or even a tyre or a stone, like, Yeah, that looks heavy, doesn't it? So that's a good one. I'm not a fan of anything that requires grip. My hands are quite small, and I don't like training grip very much. So if anything like farmer's walk, where you have to pick it up and run with it, I'm fine with the actual running. But then my grip will go, and it's incredibly frustrating. I've ripped calluses off before because you're just trying to grip it and pull it up again. So it's anything grip related. Or I don't like hold events. So have you ever seen where they like hold Hercules hold, where they hold something either side and then just hold it for as long as possible? Yeah. Because again, you're just there with your thoughts, and you're just like, this hurts. When am I going to put it down? See someone go for a minute before you, and you're like, just can't do that now. So, and a forward hold, anything that requires grip strength is not my favourite. I like the yoke. We just pick it up and it's on your back and you run with it.
You run with it. Yeah.
That's a strong event for me normally. So quite like that one.
Grip is really tough. Like we during lockdown, we bought a bar made out of scaffolding out for in the garden, because we used to go to a climbing centre, and obviously that was all closed. And just sort of learning just to hang on the bar and to do sort of pull-ups and chin-ups. I mean, as if they're not hard enough, but it's the grip that sort of it fails.
And a thick bar as well, because you've got the scaffolds. But I suppose that's good. I mean, if you're climbers, I guess your grip is pretty good. I mean, I've been climbing a couple of times, but it's my lack of flexibility and my heavier weight. I do enjoy it. I'm just not that good at it. But you watch the wiry, skinnier guys and girls just like getting up there real quick.
Absolutely. We
massive Popeye forearms, but then 70 kilos body weight, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Hauling yourself up the walls.
And I kind of felt heavy doing it myself. Even felt too heavy compared to a lot of the guys that were there. So as you're carrying more, it must be a tougher one to do. Yeah,
it's one of those ones where the bulk doesn't help you, does it? But and a lot of leg drive. I do enjoy it though. I have to say, I've been climbing a few times. I got the shoes because you use them for truck pulls as well. So but I do like climbing. But I should do more of it actually, because it is a good grip event. Again, it's good for training your grip, even if you're not very good at it, because you got to haul your body up the thing. So
no, it's good fun.
That's it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, we've not been.
Bouldering's better because you haven't got to harness up. So
the harness 100%. Not much fun. Definitely.
No.
So far, what would you say your greatest achievement be in strongman sort of events, or just in powerlifting or deadlifting or whatever the other things?
Well, when I first won a comp was 2018. I won in Basingstoke Strongest, which, although isn't a massive comp, is because I'm in Reading, it's down the road, and my sister lives there, and there were lots and lots of people there to support me. It was quite a strong event, and that was a nice feeling to win that. And the funny thing is with strongman, you can have your best ever event and you can finish last, or you can have a terrible day and come first. It just depends who turns up. You can only do what you can do. But I think my biggest achievement now is obviously for next year qualifying for World's Strongest Man. It was a good year to go for it, because a lot of people weren't going to go for it, because I was lucky to have equipment at home. If you hadn't, you couldn't train up for it. And they were like, right, by the end of December, August, you have to have your lifts in. And it was just max deadlift and max overhead. And I scraped in the qualifying for that. So I've got a year and a bit now to get ready to go to the World's Strongest Man under 90 and see what I can do.
I had that.
But that'll be, a great experience.
I had that down as a question coming up. So obviously you've been selected, and that's in America next November. Is that right? So with that,
kind of end of November.
Do you have to, as your training routine change then? Is it very focused on that now?
Well, not yet, because the events aren't out as of yet. I think when they are, I'll be quite focused on that. But I've got comps coming up now. I've got the British Natural Strongman Federation final. That's in November. I'm doing Static Monsters, which is just a bit of fun. That's in October. And then I'll probably do another comp before the end of the year. And then London Strongest Man, which I came third in last year, which is another big event, is the beginning of next year. So I want to, and then after that, as soon as the events are out, I think that's just what I'll concentrate on, because that's the pinnacle, that's the big one. So once they're out, then you just practice. I've got a coach who obviously tells you what to do, how many reps, etc. So once the events are out, but I don't think it'll be till halfway through next year they'll even have the events for that yet.
I see. So
got to practice everything for now.
So they release what you've got to do a period of time before the event. Then is that how it works? So you get to
they'll have they don't normally have a mystery event in something like that. Occasionally you win comps, but in general they'll tell you what you're doing. So first event will be a bag toss, and then you'll have a tire flip or whatever, and then normally finishes with stones in in a world level competition of some description. So, you got to practice those.
Yeah,
they're a bit more of a hassle to set up though.
Yeah, yes. I can't imagine you can do them at home. Yet.
Well, I do have a stone and a stone platform actually, but it's quite
that's cool.
But I'd rather go to the gym because there's like 6 different stones and different heights. Because, like I say, lifting it to 6 foot is a different technique to lifting it to say 4 foot, where you can just kind of go like that, push it instead of going, up and then.
Yeah.
So it's better to have the variety with it. Luckily, I've got a few gyms around here, so I can use with stone runs. But I don't know what they'll be yet. But it's over 3 days for Worlds as well. It's only 2 events a day, so it's a different competition to what I'm used to, where it's 5 or 6 events in a day, same day weigh-in. This will be 24-hour weigh-in, so I could probably be a bit heavier, cut the water, then replenish before the events probably for Worlds. So not very good for your kidneys, but if it's a one-off, it's all right.
No. Absolutely. We want to do it all the time.
The outlet stones always strike me. They're such a challenge because it's just a multifaceted. You've got the weight, and I think, are we going up to what, 130? Do they go up to 100?
Well, more. I mean, I don't know what they'll go up to in this, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the ones I've got coming up, I've got a 10 stone run at Britain's Strongest Final, and that goes from 70, I think, up to 160, 170 kilo stones in that one. So, I mean, the most I've lifted is 165, but not very high. So it depends on the platform height. So we'll see how. And also, once you've done a run, you'll be fatigued and everything else. So see how it goes.
But
I don't think many will complete that.
It's that their balls. That's the hard thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just that's
tricky.
Such.
And also, as they get heavier, they get bigger diameter as well. So they're harder when I haven't got massively long arms. So it's like if you watch Tom Stoltman, who's the king, he's got arms that are massive. But when you haven't got the massive arms, you've got trying to get around a big stone is harder because you can't get completely round it and things like that. So they're all different to lift as well. And you've got this stuff, like I say, called tacky, which is like almost like arm hair remover. It bruises up your arms. A lot of people wear stone sleeves. I've just deadened the nerves in the forearms, but you put that on, and the only way to get it off is like WD-40. And
I've seen that
some gyms don't like using that.
I've seen that. That
looks it's just it goes like that, and it's quite nasty to use, but you can lift a lot more weight because it's super grippy.
So sorry, honey, you do.
Saying you save that for the competitions rather than when you go in practice.
I will train with it sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, because you want to get the feeling of it.
Sure.
But if you can train without it, you've got the confidence to get it with it. But I do, like when I go later today, if I'm going to the super high platform, I might take some tacky with me because it's just about getting the transition up. It just depends. I'm supposed to do stones today. Depends how it rains though. I might do log today and stone tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But it's outside the one I'm going to today, so see how it goes.
So so who are your sort of fitness heroes, be it in Strongman or other events? And did you grow up watching Strongman and all those sort of things?
I did, but I didn't take it. It wasn't necessarily the one I watched the most. Every see it at Christmas, families watch it, don't they? The funny thing is you don't realise all those events are throughout the year. I mean, Britain's Strongest Man is actually in January, and then they wait till Christmas to show it. And like World's Strongest Man in Florida in like August time, or they've moved it around. It's but it's miles in advance, and then they just cram it all together for Christmas, and then just put the shows on them, which is good because that's when people want to sit down and watch it. They don't care when it was. I mean, in general, it's a shame they only show the open weight men. You'll never see the women or the underweight men on the TV coverage, which I think it's a bit of a shame. I mean, you have to watch that online. You can't. But that's they only show the massive guys really. But I mean, Eddie Hall was he's a big inspiration just because he's just so relentless in his training and everything else, and his attitude towards it was brilliant. A lot of the open weight strongmen, I mean, they're all kind of heroes of mine. I know a couple of them. I mean, but they're all nice guys as well in general, you find. There's no real ego to them, which is nice. But I watch all the sports, so I get my inspiration. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ben Stokes because I think his never say die attitude in the cricket is awesome. So I mean, I've got different heroes from different walks of sports. So, big fan of football and rugby as well. So there's some rugby players, football players, So just take inspiration from a lot of people.
Just getting that positive. Like you mentioned, that never say die attitude. I'm a big fan of David Goggins. I don't know if you know him. It's that constant sort of pushing and pushing forward sort of mentality.
I think I do know him. What sports
he's great. He does a lot of running, and he holds a lot of world records. He holds a world record for the most consecutive pull-ups, and he's like done the Navy SEALs Hell Week like twice or 3 times, and he's just a big ambassador for like positive.
He's an all-round athlete as well, then, isn't he? Because if he runs and he does pull-ups and he does,
He's a beast.
I'll have to look him up, actually. He sounds like the kind of guy I'd enjoy watching. Yeah.
You would. He's really good fun.
He's fun to watch. Yeah, if you're sensitive to expletives, don't watch him, because he does like to swear a lot.
He's good fun.
He's good fun to watch. American guy.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a few plant-based athletes as well I'm a fan of. I mean, there's that climber, I can't remember his name, but I saw the free climber, absolute nutter, the one who climbed Yosemite Mountain. I can't remember his name now, but Alex Hammond possibly. Right. But there's a few plant-based guys, because you watch Game Changers, and there's a few guys out there doing some great stuff. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So why and when did you become plant-based? What was that? What was the decision there?
I've pretty much since birth been vegetarian. I had a little rebellious phase when I was 11 where I ate a bit of meat, but in general I was always vegetarian. Yeah. And then I think 2016, the first time I tried veganuary, and it was quite hard work, because back then there wasn't quite the access to vegan foods that there is now. Mm-hmm. And then I tried it again 6 days a week about a year and a half ago, just because it was so much easier. The access to vegan food and nice vegan food was so much better now than it used to be. It's like growing up, there was always one vegetarian option, but to find a vegan one, you'd actually have to, look up what they're doing. Now you'll always find a vegan option. Yeah. You might find a veggie as well, or it might just say it's both, because, veggies don't mind eating vegan food, you find, in general. So it doesn't matter. But so when I went 6 days a week, that was great. But then one day a week, I'd go and have this massive stuffed crust Domino's with garlic and herb sauce. And I just feel almost like I've been drinking the next day. I'd get up and I'd feel the stomach wasn't right and everything else. So it was almost, giving up dairy has made me stronger and fitter than I've ever been, which is bizarre. I didn't realise that would happen. But like having fake dairy, like soy milk and everything else, and not eating any, because I used to be quite reliant on dairy for food and protein and everything else. But actually it turns out the human body isn't designed to process it. So it's it's good for the animal welfare, but it's also good for my own body not to have dairy in my diet. I mean, eggs can take it or leave it. I mean, you can get the protein elsewhere, but I really think giving up dairy has made me fitter and healthier. And I keep telling people, if you're going to give up one, I would actually give up dairy rather than say chicken, because you can get more from that than you can from, and animal welfare, they're both pretty bad. So it doesn't make any difference which one you give up. So,
I mean, absolutely. I don't think people realise, I'm the same. I mean, obviously, being vegan, I'm very much want everyone to give up everything. But I always say to people, start with dairy, because nowadays, like you're right, a few years ago it was harder, but nowadays it's so easy and so much choice. But it's I agree. I think it's the one thing that it poisons your body so badly, and I don't think
we're just not designed to process it.
Until you don't have it, I don't think you realise quite how nasty it can make you feel. I thought
I wouldn't be able to do it, because I was like, I love dairy, it's the nicest thing in the world. But once I've given it up, although it's delicious, now I see it again, it's like, because I know what it's going to do, and it's like, I find it smells different. Miss it.
No.
And it does. People are like, vegan cheese doesn't melt. I was like, it's because it's got less fat in it. I mean, things with less fat don't melt as well. That's just how it is. You just gotta, you get over it, don't you? Have this spell, almost giving up something like smoking, and then you're okay. You know?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come out the other side.
And I wouldn't go back to dairy, because it's just now. Like I say, I'm 34 now, but strength and fitness has gone up through the roof in the last year and a half, and I can only put that down to one change, and that's giving up eggs and dairy. And I don't think the eggs were the problem, I think it was the dairy, but I'm glad I've given up both, because I don't like the way eggs are produced. It's
absolutely
it's practical, like you say. I'd rather everyone was vegan, but if people are going to go flexitarian and give up meat half the time, that's still a win, in general.
I think as well, people are making a start, and like you say, if you drop dairy, and it starts making you inquisitive and thinking down a different mindset, thinking, well, hang on a minute, I do feel quite a lot of difference and I feel a lot better. I wonder, let's try some other stuff out, rather than always just going down the same narrative of, meat and do veg, and I mean,
it's cooking from scratch. I mean, my partner does most of the cooking, if I'm honest. In fact, all of it from scratch. But it's healthy. It just feels healthier. It's just everything, and tofu and the fake chicken and things like that. They're all pretty good now. It's some people moan about the cost, and it is a little bit more expensive than some things. But if you cook from scratch, it's not too bad, I don't think.
No, well, that's
depends
the thing.
on how you do it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, it's the difference in choice. I mean, if you are going to just substitute like for like, then yes, it can be a bit more expensive. But like if you mix it up, like you say, like sometimes you have tofu's not more expensive than buying a steak, you know, and things like that. You have a tofu stir fry rather than maybe you might have chopped up steak strips or whatever in it. It's not more expensive. You just have to think a little bit outside the box, you know, and not just try and replace like
I mean, you might have to flavour it a bit more and season it, but it's you can make it taste pretty good. And I've had people go, "Oh, this is lovely," and it's like, well, it's not that hard. I mean, it's you know, it's more effort than some people want to put in. But I mean, when people season a steak, how long does that take? You know, and slow cookers and everything else. I mean, they take forever.
Definitely.
How do you find?
I completely think.
How do you find? How has being plant-based been received in the strongman and the gym environment? Do you have to take much for the team there? Or?
You get mixed reactions. Yeah, I mean, you do get some mixed reactions. I mean, you obviously get the mickey taken, but I don't care. And it's funny when people go, "Oh, you'd be stronger if you ate meat," and I'm like, "But I'm stronger than you," so I don't really understand where this is coming from. But you know, you'll get the mickey taken, and it's still kind of seen as almost like, I don't know, effeminate's the right word to be vegan, but it's almost seen as non-manly, isn't it? You know, but I just, if we can change that stereotype, then I'm happy to be someone to try and change that. In some ways, it gives me more motivation because if people see it and they go, well, you can, they seem to think of the vegan as like this anemic cyclist all in lycra all the time. And it's like, that's not true. I mean, people in every walk of life can be, you know, vegan and you can be just as strong, but they're just, you know, a lot of footballers are going to it now. I saw a documentary on a lot of like, you know, Premier League footballers and things. And obviously they have to be as healthy as they come, fit and healthy. So it's, I think attitudes are changing. I just think it's a slow process, you know? I've always been veggie, and the environmental impact of eating meat as well is colossal. I've worked out. So it's just, trying to be kinder, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, people don't, you know, I mean, we came to it very much from the animal welfare stance. But as we've said before on previous interviews, you know, there are so many ways to draw people in, whether it be, you know, animal welfare, environmentally, health-wise.
There's a lot of benefits all around.
And it's out there as well now. You know, there's a lot more information out there. I mean, we've been vegan nearly 5 years, and even 5 years ago, that information wasn't as prevalent.
It's much harder. 2015 would have been much harder because I tried, like I say, 2016 for a month, and it was hard work. So it's, like you say, it's just absolutely exploded, especially kind of in the southeast of the country. I've got a friend who's in marketing, and he said the southeast of England now is a huge market for vegan food. I mean, you know, Domino's have just brought out their vegan pizza, and the garlic and herb dip's pretty good, the fake one. So, I mean, they're not doing it for the animal welfare. They're not doing it for the environment, but the point is money talks.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, and if we can, and if it always makes me laugh when people go, you shouldn't go to Burger King still because of this practice. I was like, yeah, but if we all went there and we all got the plant burger or whatever, or McDonald's, then that's all they'd sell, because at the end of the day, they're there to make money.
Exactly.
You've got to be pragmatic. I always think some vegans can turn people off trying it because they're too militant, or they're too, you know, we've got to tread a thin line between saying what we think is the right idea and, you know, trying to be over the top aggressive, because like I say, a lot of people get switched off by, oh, look, they're talking about it again kind of thing. But, you know, I think it is important, but you can switch people's minds off to trying it if you're not careful.
Yeah, I think people's minds are, or the majority is going to be changed as well by eating food which they go, wow, actually that's really nice, and it's a price I can afford, and it's on the shelf and it's easy, and that's going to be, it's not going to be, we're not gonna, hard to shift the morals of the world. You know?
But if people can do it and it's just as cheap, they'll probably do it. I mean, you know, it's a bit like recycling. A lot you recycle bottles taken to the bottle bank, but a lot of people throw them in the bin. But if it's on the doorstep, they'll do it, won't they? It's a bit like that.
100%.
You know?
Definitely. And just lost my thread. What was it? And leading by example as well, you know, like you do at the gym, and by doing these strongman events, it's fantastic because people see you and they're like, wow, like you say, he's not skinny and anemic and looks pale, and you know, and that's fantastic. We need more people like you and vegan athletes and people, not just, I mean, celebrities are great because, you know, celebrities, a lot of people follow them sort of blindly sometimes, but
they don't always relate to them, do they? That's the thing.
No, exactly. It's sort of very unobtainable. Whereas when you see someone who is working up the ranks in a fitness way, whether it just be someone like ourselves who've gone from sort of like never running to like running longer distances and stuff like that.
And big athlete,
and yourself and sorry, I've got another cat just arrived.
Second one's arrived.
It's so important, and I think as well for young males too, because
100%.
Men, boys, and young men in particular, you know, they need really strong role models, and if you are very strong, you know.
But that's what this is.
Not strong enough yet, but yeah,
you're really susceptible at that age as well, and especially for the men's sector. And you were saying younger males, they're heavily marketed to, and then we know now, you know, a lot of the meat stuff was marketing. And like you say, it's wonderful to have a role model and see role models that are accessible on social media and go, well, hang on, he's doing that, so why can't I? Because for men in particular, as you sort of touched on earlier, we're still the smaller piece of the pie with regards to veganism and plant-based. It's still
it's still. I guess if a group like go out and there's a woman who's like, oh, you know, you're vegan, vegetarian, she probably doesn't get quite as much stick. And then you go out with the lads and it's like, oh, what are you ordering that for, kind of thing. And it's it's an attitude that I think it's slowly changing, but it's an attitude that's ingrained, isn't it, in the kind of male psyche of young guys going out and being the most macho they can be, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but like I say, I'd rather look the part and then I'll eat and then they can see. But it's, as you say, it's a slow change, but it's now, like you said, it's so accessible to buy vegan foods. I mean, you know, you go to Sainsbury's, good place to do it, or whatever, you know, there's plenty about, isn't there? So I use a lot of the Huel stuff to get my nutrients, easy nutrients there and things. So it's not hard. But yeah, like you say, I think it is changing, but young males are probably the ones that are the hardest to, you know, to change their minds as such.
Yeah.
So, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, exactly. Drip feeding. Get there.
Enough of us. Yeah.
That's it. So, obviously, you spend a lot of time training. What do you do when you're not training? What do you like to do to relax and let off steam? More training?
It's a lot of my free time is training because obviously occasionally I have to go to work. So it's you know, occasionally work gets in the way. I mean, you know, go out socialising. I try and responsible drinking, I guess, now and again, maybe once every other week or so. Go out with the guys, or watch or play sport with my friends. Another thing, you know, we've got like a cricket set. I mean, the weather's a bit naff for that now, or we've got to watch the Premier League or whatever. You know, just play a bit of football. Just try to stay active as well. I haven't got any kids myself. I've got a few mates with kids, so just go to the park with them and enjoy it. And used to go on holiday a bit as well, but obviously this year that's been a bit of a write-off. You know, can't go anywhere. Bit of walking, but not a lot. Went up to Lancaster recently, did a few walks around there, and that was quite nice. But in general, it's training or watch a bit of TV as well, but normally just veg in front of it, to be honest. I haven't really got series I'm into at the moment, but
So you're sorry, honey.
I was going to say, how's the work training balance? Because just recently I've been working setting up a new business, and I just I'm finding the balance so difficult in between being completely engrossed with work and suddenly a day's gone past. I'm like, I know I missed the opportunity for training, and I've just been a bit slack the last few weeks. Do you find the balance difficult?
I'm quite lucky in my career that I don't have to think about work when I'm not there. I mean, I'm a train driver, so all I do is I go in, I drive the train, I come home, and I only work the late shift, so I get into a routine of getting up, normally having fuel, doing a workout, having some food, go to work, come home, and if I'm working, that's just the day.
Sure.
And then if I'm off, then it might change. In some ways, being off's worse for it because I get out of the routine of eating at a certain time and training at a certain time. But the work-life balance is pretty good on the railway, probably thanks to the unions. But it's I go into work, but the training is that comes. Do that as long as you turn up to work, you do your job well, you go home. Unlike you, when you're setting up a business, you're thinking about it probably all the time. I'm only thinking about it when I'm there or going into there. So it's I can switch off and train. It's get into a routine. Try and train 5 days a week. Doesn't always work, but in general, I can get 5 days a week training in, which is good. I don't need rest days so much. I think I sleep very well, and I still think the plants mean I get less inflammation. I can train quite heavy quite a lot, and people are like, oh, you're just robust. I was like, well, partly that. It might be partly lifestyle. You maybe look into it. I don't know. But it's,
exactly. Still the point in the finger. Why don't you give it a try?
Well, I've generally had a few people go, I'm going to try, because of you, I'm going to try a bit more plant stuff, or maybe have like 1 or 2 days a week they have a steak or whatever, and the other times they go back to eating plant stuff, which is great. I mean, if that's what happens, and I'd love that. If more people could do that, then the environment will help, animal welfare won't suffer so much.
We hope you're enjoying this video. We'd love it if at the end you could head over and check out our crowdfunder.
We're raising money to buy land and buildings to create a unique sanctuary for all, and you can find out more about this over on our Crowdfunder page.
You'll find the details in the description below, and please don't forget to check out our social media. You'll find us both on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.
For my job, it's not so bad. I'm quite lucky. I only have to work 4 days a week. I sometimes work a bit more for a bit extra, but that's all I have to work. So in general, yes, it's just that I'm quite lucky in that respect.
I think routine was come up a lot, mental and physical health to get the importance of that, being going to the bed at similar time, and the work and play balance.
Absolutely, yeah. You should work to live, not live to work, shouldn't you? So it's I think, like you say, it does help the mental and physical well-being, and I think physical well-being helps mental well-being as well, doesn't it? So it's if you feel better physically, then you'll hopefully feel better mentally as well. I know a lot of people I train with who train because they've had mental health problems, and they're quite open and honest about it, and it's another good way of getting into strongman, where it's a supportive environment, or lifting in general. So it works quite well for that as well.
Yeah, and
which is why it's such a shame when the gyms were closed, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, we've heard that before, and then you've said it again. It seems like quite a supportive community in the sort of lifting world. Competitive, but also
it is.
Very
it's
supportive.
A lot more than any other sport I've done.
Yeah.
You're only really competing against yourself, because if you're as strong as you can be, if someone beats you, fair play. But there are people out there, and obviously there's different performance enhancers people can and cannot take depending on what they want to do. So it's different levels, different people do different things, but it's everyone's supportive of each other. It's nice.
That is really
we found that with bouldering, didn't we?
It's not supportive.
That was one thing we love with climbing.
I do enjoy bouldering as well. Yeah,
everyone's so friendly, and again, it's another sport, and I think that's been booming, the sport in general, and because the vibe again is just, it's kind of you against yourself, and everyone else is so supportive and trying to work out climbs and just working together, and you come away with a lot more than just that physical experience.
Yeah, a few times I've been climbing, I have enjoyed it. I need to go again, actually. The bouldering centre is not massive in Reading, it's more of a climbing centre, but it's still got a bouldering area, so you just have to go and do it again.
It's brutal.
We can't go at the moment because we go with our little boy, and at the moment they're not allowing the smaller children in, so we're sort of
it's strange, isn't it? Because they're like
I think you have to be 8+ to go in, but at the moment our son's nearly 7, so but we used to go twice a week, and he used to enjoy it, didn't he?
Yeah, it's so good for him,
Yeah, and he's so much better than we are.
Stopped him. I don't know why they've stopped him though, because children are less affected by this than anyone else. But there you go.
I think it might be because one child. I mean, he's there when the adults are there because he's homeschooled, so we can go whenever. But, I suppose if they don't want a load of kids running around.
No, maybe. Spreading around. Yeah, I guess.
Exactly.
No one wants that.
No one wants that. No. I'm not sure if you're aware, and I say this to everyone that we speak to, is one of the reasons why we're doing these videos and these chats is because we are one of my friends say, you're animal rescuers. Say you're animal rescuers. So we're animal rescuers, and sort of taking the sort of old and needy animals that people don't really want, and we want to expand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we want to expand. So we've got a crowdfunder going to buy land and buildings.
Nice.
Expand for the animals, but we also, where it's a sort of unique sanctuary for all. It's not just about the animals. It's very much going to be about humans too. A place where you can come, relax, be one-to-one with the animals, see inspirational talks, perhaps we'll get out in nature, that kind of thing. And one of the things, like I said, is we wanted to have people who are plant-based or vegan to come in and talk. And because we can't do that at the moment, because we don't have the place yet.
Yeah.
We thought, well, why are we sitting on our hands waiting for that?
Get talking.
Let's get talking. Let's start building relationships with people.
Great idea. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's sort of how these have come about. Really want to just say, when this place is built, we hope you come and visit us.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
hang out, spend
definitely.
Come and inspire some people.
If you send the crowdfunding link, I can share it out as well. That'd be good, because that sounds great. To be honest, I can't. I just. Where are you based?
At the moment,
where are you going to base the building?
Well, we're in Norwich at the moment. I mean, ideally,
not too far.
Just ideally for contacts and people obviously we know, we would be looking in the sort of East Anglia region, but we're also open to anywhere. So if the right place came up anywhere in the UK, then we'd certainly be able to go.
Okay, yeah. So you're looking, obviously East Anglia would be ideal because that's where you live and based and everything else.
Exactly. Less to move, less distance to move everyone and everything. But yeah, so that's going to be, as I say, we call it our sanctuary for all. So it encompasses everyone. And we very much want to get involved with their mental health side, and particularly for men as well, like we were talking, because that seems to be quite neglected, and people need that. So,
I've seen more of it recently, but in few past, it seems less based, doesn't it?
Exactly. So, having people like yourselves who are, plant-based and also doing something is great. So so that's where these sort of the idea for
wicked. I'd love to see the sanctuary of like older animals. I think that's awesome. I can't it's exactly the kind of thing I like to see support for. It's great because you always see animals that are like mistreated and stuff, and it's the worst thing, isn't it? So it's nice somebody's trying to look after them.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll get your place sooner rather than later, but obviously COVID's messed a few things up. But
you never know, and like you say, you share, and you just might impact onto the next person and the next person. You never know who it might reach. So we would appreciate that very much.
Yeah, when we do have it, as Lex said, what we'd love to have is you come along and do a little talk or something, just to inspire some young lads, men and women, that they can achieve these dizzying heights of strength on a plant-based diet. It's possible.
I'll be more than happy. I've always, if you ask anyone, I'm always more than happy to talk, especially about lifting or plant stuff. So it's like I say, I'm not actually particularly brilliant at knowing plant recipes because I don't do a lot of the cooking, but I know what I need and what I need to eat and everything else.
Sounds familiar.
Well, I was it's the other way around to a lot of relationships where obviously I was the one who was veggie, then she kind of went veggie, and then I went plant, and she kind of followed me in that respect. In some ways, well, she agrees with the ideals, but in some ways she's like, I don't want to make two meals. So it's so she went pretty much plant-based.
That's pretty much
because of that, really.
Oh, that's good. However,
a lot of the time though, you find it the other way. A lot of the time you find it's maybe the woman who's vegan first, and then the guy just eats the stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, it's not too bad. I feel pretty good. But so it's the other way around here.
As long as I don't have to cook it.
Did you guys decide together to try it? Did you guys decide together to try it, or?
Well, sort of. I mean, it's a long, bit boring story, but the cut it short is I sort of made the decision as what we were doing, and Johnny was a bit like, don't want to be vegan, don't know what they eat, and then we had a few disastrous,
fair enough,
a few disastrous sort of meals, probably about 6 months, where we just tried to just recreate everything like for like that we used to eat, and it was awful because like you couldn't even get like a decent vegan cheese back then either, so it was just revolting.
No, it's tough in 2015. You guys did it before it became kind of cool.
It's a barren year.
Before it started trending, you guys were
exactly. So it was pretty disgusting for quite a while, but we stuck with it, and then eventually.
To highlight that it wasn't too great, not because there wasn't things really available in terms of sort of the plant kingdom, but we just didn't know what we were
trial
doing.
And error.
No,
we were just cooking badly.
We were trying to always just replicate what we were eating, and it just didn't work. And then once we started, we got a book from the Happy Pair, who are two Irish guys vegan Irish guys who are brilliant. And it went from there, and they do a series of 5-minute meals on YouTube, and it's brilliant. And once I'd got about 5 of these 5-minute meals, healthy whole food meals, it was like, like a light just went off.
And it was
like,
nicer than anything we had before.
And it was nicer, totally nicer than things. And like you say,
even the fast foods, I think the funny thing is, if you're plant-based, everything seems a bit healthier. Like when you go out and just get processed meat, I mean, it's probably not much in it, but like a Greg's vegan sausage roll is pretty nice. It's not terrible for you. And it's just like, it works in shifts as well. It kind of stops some of your, I love a McDonald's. You're like, nah, there's nothing I want to eat there. So it kind of stops you eating bad food, almost being plant-based. I don't eat anywhere near as much rubbish as I used to eat. So it's...
same here. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, there was a lot of times where we used to just be like, oh, something to shove in the oven, like, chicken Kievs and chips or whatever. Shove it in, forget about it. Whereas now it's like, well, I don't want that. What would I want to eat that for? Kind of thing. And now just have,
makes you groggy, doesn't it?
Fresh food, and it's just, and we really get to know. We buy our fruit and veg from our friends on the Norwich market, and it's like you get to know your greengrocers and things like that. It's been a completely different change of lifestyle.
So we don't really have that kind of market here. I'll have to have a look, but it's most of it's in a supermarket still.
Well, obviously we still use them, but we have a beautiful market in Norwich.
We're super lucky.
It's like one of the oldest in the world, or
it's
at least
been
in the
voted
country.
the #1 market
in the UK
last year. I think it was. They're very pleased about that.
So
I need to look out. I think somebody said there was a vegan market down the road in Wokingham. Actually, I'll have to actually go and have a look out.
But it certainly opens your eyes to a lot more, other things. And even if you don't cook it personally, you eat it. So you're like, oh yeah, this is nice and different, and something I wouldn't necessarily have chosen before.
No, I mean, the freshness of things, like you say, from proper greengrocers is different as well, because it should be local. I mean, I've got a friend who had all tomatoes in his garden, and I put those in. They're much not fresher than you get tomato normally. So it's
lovely.
No, it's
the way forward, isn't it?
Definitely.
But they don't last as long in the fridge, and when I'm poorly repaired, you don't want to throw food away. So it's a bit, it's hit and miss, isn't it?
Yeah, well, everything's got to fit in with your own, routine and lifestyle. But you're doing your best, and that's the main thing.
100%, yeah.
It's just not. I mean, when you guys started in 2015, but now I just don't think it's that hard anymore. I think people just think it's going to be hard. I don't think I'd have gone full vegan if it wasn't as easy as it now is. Since about 2019, it just exploded. It's I'd have been like mainly vegan, and then go out and you'd be like, well, I'll have to have this cheese because that's all that's available. But now it's not really acceptable for a place not to have a vegan option. There really is no excuse. So before vegetarian growing up, the option was always goat's cheese or something like that, but now they've got a lot more creative, and they're making better stuff. Some places are still lazy. I mean, we went to this posh restaurant and all you could have was a couscous salad, which was nice enough, but it wasn't exactly hard to make. So
it can be a bit frustrating sometimes.
It's just that but they don't they're not vegans themselves, so which is a solid meal, but I can make that in 5 minutes.
I'm not paying $8.95 for it.
Well, it's a bit like when you used to go out and a vegetarian option was an omelette. You're like, I don't want to pay a tenner for an omelette. It's just a couple of eggs cracked in a pan and a bit of cheese put on it.
Bit of a cop out, isn't it?
The classic is the vegan fry up, where it's just beans and tomatoes. Sorry, just would take all the other stuff away.
That's all what Wetherspoons have got a bit better nowadays, but it used to just be like a corn sausage and like a million mushrooms or something like that. So you haven't really replaced a lot here. So. But places to get better now, so that's good.
They've got to, like you said at the start, and spot on with that. It is, we live in a capitalist
money talks
society, and it is going to be the bigger the shelf space that you see in Sainsbury's for vegan options is just an indicator 100% that it's booming and people want it.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's it's great. And however it happens is fairly irrelevant, really. I mean, if you guys are doing it for the animal welfare and I'm doing it for the environment and someone else is doing it because it's easier and cheaper, it doesn't matter why it's happening.
No,
the same effect, isn't it? It's the same effect. It doesn't matter why someone's doing it. It's just keen that more people do it and do more of it. So that's why I try and encourage the flexitarian first. It's the way forward for a lot of people.
I think you have that first driver which takes you on a journey, but as I said, the whole thing becomes quite holistic. So you were very driven about the animal welfare, and then I started getting into a lot more fitness because I felt better. Then you start running again like I was when I was a kid, and start getting into weights, and everything starts to boom. And then I think clearer. I'm making better choices for my work, and just everything feeds in. So sort of you end up getting benefits all round. I think from
what's frustrating now is the fake news, because you'll get very militant vegans, but what people don't realise is you also get militant meat eaters who don't want the change, and they'll badmouth us as much as possible. So yes, vegan militants can be annoying, but it's the same the other side. People don't seem to realise that some people are doing everything they can to disprove it's a good idea. When if you actually look at human anatomy, plants are what we're designed to process as much as anything else. The one that isn't evolution is milk. And I keep saying to people, if you're going with evolution, you're drinking that, then that's not, no other animal drinks someone animal's milk, and no one has it after 3 years old. No. So it's just, I don't know why people think that's, if you're going with the evolution argument, you're shooting yourself in the foot with that one.
Absolutely.
So it's like, no. But we know that from trying it. So it's, like you say, before you weren't as fit and healthy as you are now either. So good examples of you guys getting fitter and healthier on it. So 100%. But people don't think you can get enough protein, but it's not that hard. Every food has protein in. You just supplement it with pea proteins and fuels and everything else. It's not. I don't have any issue with protein. And even growing up being a vegetarian, people are like, oh, your iron must be low. But if I went to give blood, mine would drop to the bottom of the quickly as anything. It's not. Some people do have a problem with iron when they're anemic. That's nothing to do with what they eat. That's just a body thing, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
But I was quite lucky. I grew up in a reasonably progressive family in terms of they were always vegetarian. I mean, my parents now they're not vegan, but they do now have the replacement milks in the fridge, and they do try and avoid a lot of the animal products now because I've done it really. And also my dad's big, like me, the environment is one of his main drivers. So that's why he does it.
Yeah, that's great though.
The animal welfare is important.
We'll put the links in the description of your Instagram stuff and social media so people can see for 100% you're definitely not lacking in protein. Because following some of your lists is just insane.
Cheers. Yeah, they can. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've there's a long way to go still, but I do think the diet has improved my performance, not hindered it. So, I mean, I'm not a great example because I've always been vegetarian, so I'm not someone who's gone from a full meat diet to vegan straight off. But I can say that I think dairy wasn't helping, as I've said before. So, I'm an example. And I've always been quite strong, and I've very rarely eaten meat in my life. So it does show, and I haven't always been that strict on my diet, So it's not relevant necessarily what you eat. You just got to eat enough a lot of the time. I mean, some people eat too much. People are like, vegan diet, you can't put on weight. I was like, I've seen some big guys who are just plant-based.
You can.
You can eat burgers and pizzas.
Well, if you're not careful, it becomes a heavy plant. Chips are a staple diet,
chips and chocolate.
So it can be very carby.
Absolutely.
I found I've eaten less chocolate now, though. Genuinely eating less chocolate since going vegan, because a lot of the time in a vending machine you won't see a dark chocolate, will you? So it's like, unless you see a Bourneville in there, which has now gone, I think, vegan. There's nothing else in there that you can eat. So you're like, I'll skip that for now. And you'll have the vegan bars, like Naked Bar, which are much better for you. Not quite as nice, but you get more.
Yeah, but you get used to things as
paprika.
I have the
Erica bars.
I have the 100% chocolate. So you literally don't want to eat too much of that. It's just
that's very rich and quite bitter. I'd assume
really rich and intense. Just have a couple of bits of that. Have a bit of bait if you want a bit of sweetness. But that's all you actually.
Well, I have it. I'll have a couple of all you have, and then you're done with the sweetness, aren't you? I mean, I'll have a couple of blocks of dark chocolate and coconut yogurt, and that'll do me absolutely fine. And that's not bad for you either. No. So I've only just got onto coconut yogurt, but it's really nice. It's better than the soy yogurts.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's much nicer.
And a lot better, lot less fillers, a lot less preservatives and that they put in as well. I've noticed on some of the coconut ones compared to the soya ones. So they taste nicer too.
Is it? Yeah.
Cat's growling.
It's the iodine levels of things that I find interesting, because apparently a vegan you don't get enough iodine, but you get it in the Huel I've got, and Alpro add it to their soy milk, so I do drink that sometimes. But I actually prefer the Alpro professional soy, because it tastes more like milk.
Right, yeah.
So, but you can get your iodine. It's just people seem to think it's impossible. It's not. It's normally in milk, isn't it? You can get it from other places.
and a lot of I guess seaweed and things like that.
Yeah,
will
yeah.
have iodine in, and you know, if you don't want to eat seaweed per se, you know, a lot of, if you can
Quite
use
tasty, I find seaweed. It
yeah,
can be.
I do.
Yeah,
But you know, you could always crumple up like the seaweed sheets into food, just
nori
to get
sheets,
the nori sheets and stuff like
use it
that.
as a
Good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
use it as a seasoning, exactly. So there are lots of different ways, but oops, just hit the microphone. But yeah, and starting out, like I said before, the happy pair. Oh, cat's going for me. Happy because I'm trying to move. Claws! Ow! Zozo, please.
It's a bit vicious, that one.
So your cat's quite friendly in terms of near you, but she's attacking you at the same time.
Oh yeah, she wants to be on my lap, but how dare I move my leg?
She's a bit of a special one. Get one.
Oh,
there's two black cats behind you now. Yeah.
There's one here. Yeah, he's lovely. Though. He's just old. He's 18. Bless him. He's lovely.
Oh, bless. That's an impressive age for a cat, aren't they?
Yeah.
They all seem to live a really long time here.
Yeah.
Must be doing something right.
Yeah,
then.
we're obviously doing something right. One of our black cats got to about 20, didn't she?
20 yeah.
So
She passed
good
last
age.
January. Yeah.
So get really healthy and smelly.
Yeah,
just keep on going.
That kind of thing. Yeah, it's lovely here.
Yeah, mine's only 5, so I've got that to look forward to later.
Yeah, you've got all to look forward to.
Yeah. There's nothing like an old animal, though. They're awesome. So.
Nah, they're cute. Don't move too much.
No, sleep and eat. That's it. Well, Mark, thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been really.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And it's been nice because I didn't know a lot about Strongman and anything like that, and hopefully we'll get to see you on the telly next year. Yeah,
can you get that?
Well, it's it'll be on. There'll be a stream for it, so I'll send you for it. Unfortunately, so with the weighted categories, we're not on television, but there'll be a stream, so I can definitely send a link for it.
Yeah, please do. That'd be really great. And great
keep an eye on your social media to see that. Yeah,
definitely. And we already follow you. So
yeah, wicked.
Sure we'll see that. Definitely.
Well, thanks, guys. Again, it's nice to talk to like-minded people anyway. So it's and I definitely send me the link for the crowdfunding page because I'm keen to get that out there and see how that goes on.
Much appreciated.
So,
that would be great. Really do appreciate that. Right, we'll have a lovely rest of your day. And,
I feel motivated. I should go and do a little bit of dumbbell lifting now. Go and lift a rock.
Yeah, definitely. Just go and pick one out. There must be in the garden. Yeah,
well, I've got a few rocks. I use the rocks. It's a good cheap way of doing it.
Absolutely. And we look forward to following your journey, and you post up about the other competitions, I guess, that you're doing this year.
Yes,
social media.
Yeah. I'll definitely post up about those. It's social media is all about posting and interaction, so it'll always be up there.
Yeah,
awesome,
fantastic.
Trying to get the lifting and the plant-based message out there. Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
great
sweet
stuff. Right.
Well, thanks for inspiring, and it's been really, as Lex said, thanks. Lovely talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And you, thanks for having me.
All right, take care, Mark.
Take care, Mark.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's video.
Please like, subscribe and share as much as possible.
Thank you.